Miracles in the Qur'an versus the Bible, a comparative analysis. Miracles play a central role in both the Qur'an and the Bible, where they are seen as divine interventions that demonstrate God's power and authority. However, the nature, purpose, and interpretation of miracles in these two scriptures differ significantly. Let's compare the depiction of miracles in the Qur'an and the Bible, focusing on the key characteristics of miracles, the figures through whom they occur, and the theological implications each tradition draws from them. 1. Definition and purpose of miracles. In both the Qur'an and the Bible, miracles are extraordinary events that defy the laws of nature and are attributed directly to the power of God. However, the purpose of these miracles differs somewhat between the two scriptures. The Qur'an, in Islamic theology, miracles are called ayat, signs. The Qur'an presents them as signs of God's existence, His power, and His guidance. They serve as evidence to affirm the truth of the prophetic message and demonstrate God's control over the universe. The miracles performed by prophets in the Qur'an are primarily meant to confirm the authenticity of their message and emphasize their divine appointment. For example, Prophet Moses, Musa, miracles before Pharaoh, such as turning his staff into a serpent and parting the Red Sea, are intended to validate his prophetic mission and God's power over oppressive rulers. Quran 20:17-24, 26-63. In the Bible, miracles also serve as signs of divine intervention, but they are often tied to God's covenantal relationship with His people and His plan for salvation. Biblical miracles frequently involve the direct intervention of God in human history, manifesting His care, compassion, and justice. In the New Testament, Jesus' miracles, such as healing the sick, walking on water, and raising the dead, are not only signs of His divine authority but also expressions of God's kingdom breaking into the world. Matthew chapter 14 verse 22-33, John chapter 11 verse 144. Thus, while both scriptures depict miracles as signs of God's power, the Quran emphasizes their role in confirming prophetic truth, whereas the Bible often links miracles to God's covenantal promises and His redemptive plan for humanity. 2. Key figures associated with miracles. The figures through whom miracles are performed are central in both the Quran and the Bible. Many of the same figures appear in both scriptures, but their roles and the types of miracles associated with them can vary. Moses is a central figure of miracles in both texts. In the Quran, his miracles, such as turning his staff into a serpent and parting the Red Sea, are portrayed as signs for Pharaoh and the people of Israel of God's dominion. Quran 20:17-24, 26-63. The Bible similarly highlights these miracles but also frames them as part of the larger narrative of God liberating Israel from slavery in Egypt, which is foundational to Jewish and Christian theology. Exodus chapter 7:14. Jesus, Isa. In the Bible, Jesus is the primary miracle worker in the New Testament. His miracles, including healing the sick, feeding the multitudes, and raising the dead, are central to his ministry and are presented as signs of his divine identity and authority. Matthew chapter 8-9, John 11. In the Quran, Jesus, Isa, also performs miracles, such as healing the blind and raising the dead, but they are framed as signs of God's power working through him rather than evidence of his divinity. Quran 3:49, 5-110. The Quran emphasizes that Jesus' miracles are performed by God's permission, underscoring the Islamic view that Jesus is a prophet rather than divine. Muhammad. Unlike the Bible, the Quran does not attribute specific physical miracles to Prophet Muhammad in the same way it does to earlier prophets like Moses or Jesus. Instead, the Quran itself is regarded as the ultimate miracle of Muhammad, a linguistic and literary miracle that is seen as inimitable in its composition and content. The night journey, Isra and Miraj, where Muhammad is said to have been taken from Mecca to Jerusalem and then ascended to the heavens, is another miraculous event associated with him. Quran 17-1. In contrast, the Bible focuses heavily on the miracles of Jesus as central to his divine mission. Thus, while both scriptures depict miracles through key prophetic figures, the Quran attributes fewer physical miracles to Muhammad and emphasizes the Quran itself as his primary miracle. 4. Conclusion. Miracles in the Quran and the Bible share a common function as signs of divine power and intervention, but they are shaped by different theological frameworks. In the Qur'an, miracles are primarily a confirmation of prophetic authority and are always performed by God's permission, reflecting the Islamic emphasis on God's absolute unity and sovereignty. In the Bible, miracles are often tied to God's covenantal relationship with his people and serve as key elements in the narrative of salvation, particularly through the person of Jesus, whose miracles affirm his divinity. Despite these differences, both traditions view miracles as powerful expressions of God's presence and activity in the world, serving to guide, heal, and inspire faith among believers.